Herzlich willkommen, good morning. Welcome to Königssee in Bavaria, the second day of the sixth race weekend of the BMW IBSF World Cup. Martin Haven and John Morgan here, ready for the start of the action in the men's skeleton competition in stunning conditions at the oldest artificial ice track on the planet. And John, after the long, speedy curves of St. Moritz, this is quite some contrast.
Yeah, that was a super speedway. This is almost like, you can say, a short track, a Martinsville type thing in the NASCAR world. And it's short, 1,306 meters, which is about 400 meters shorter than St. Moritz, and they're about 15 seconds difference in time. Tretyakov, the track record, no big surprise at the start, but it's very tricky. You know, there's this first curve that you got to get and set yourself up for these four curves that they call the Schellengrube, which is called the snake pit, four S's. Boy, there's make or break situation here. You got to exit, slingshot effect to a straightaway. It's not straight, it's a bend away. And you take a little Jenna curve set up for the big turbodrome, the Königssee, and boy, is this the challenging part of the race. The exit right here into the labyrinth, the toughest 100 meters of any track on the planet. That'll set you up down here to the Kelstein curve, C curve. Big pressure. Now look at the head getting forced down with the G-forces. Ecovon, exit going uphill. It's not over. That uphill section of the track, it's like a graveyard of time through into the finish. We saw action all over the place yesterday in skeleton. We saw the Olympic champion turn upside down, Lizzie Arnold, in the labyrinth. We're going to see a lot more action here today, Martin, because the track looks fast.
Yes, it does. Air temperature hovering around freezing. Another stunningly sunny day here in Bavaria. And the ice temperature -2. It was quite a lot colder in the training days, and that caught out a few athletes yesterday with a change of conditions. Well, we've got 3 new athletes making their World Cup debut. And, of course, Martin Stukur's, Alexander Tretyakov, their battle as ever will rage on here. Both of them have won in recent years. Sunbin Jung of Korea, third 2 years ago, second last year. Will his progression see him bounce to the top of the table for the first time since the opener in Whistler? But what about the Germans? For the first time in over a decade, German women swept the podium yesterday. Can't see that happening again today, but it's been a while since we've had a German skeleton medal. Last man to win one was 4 years ago, Frank Rommel. He was a regular medalist on this track. So was Alexander Krökel. The likes of local boy Florian Grassel, a winner here a decade ago. 28 sleds in the first of our 2 heats, which means that 8 will be on the sidelines for the second run, as long as there are no dead heats for 20th place, that is. Fastest 20 will go through. As I said, we have 3 World Cup rookies making their debut. A couple of notable absentees. Reigning junior world champion Nikita Tregibov, and Axel Rokyshchev, who was here. Axel, was it Rokyshchev, the other young Russian who made his debut last week? They are in Sigulda in Latvia, along with a few other athletes at the Junior Worlds. First of 28 sleds on the ice is 26-year-old Briton Jack Thomas. 5 Europa Cup races here. He made his World Cup debut, in fact, on this track in February 2016. And he returns for his second World Cup start here.
Well, he's the rabbit. First guy down, looked clean coming out of those start grooves, which were problems yesterday for 3 or 4 women's sleds. And now he's in the snake pit, the 4 S's I'll refer to him as also, and into the straightaway. It's not a straightaway, it's a bend away. And into the turbodrome. There's some shades on the take-on there. It's totally covered, but you can see some sun on the exit, and this is where the action starts. Boy, his teammate Lizzie Arnold yesterday hit the exit of that turbodrome on her side. How she even stayed on the sled and finished was just shows how much athleticism she's got. And hard to judge. 51.25, first man down. Well, that's the second 2200s off the pace, and that tells me you got a chance.
Well, we had about a second off yesterday, weren't we, in terms of the outright pace?
Half second in the skeleton.
Okay.
It got to
the second heat, as things warmed up. But then, of course, they were the second race on ice yesterday, the women.
Here's the problem. I mean, that exit of Turbodrome or the Königssee into these, the Canadians call them the doodles. It's if you just look at the montage of the FIBT opening, half of the incidences are from there. I mean, it's the most challenging 100 meters or 80 meters that exists on the planet in sliding.
Hiro Takahashi of Japan is next up. Half dozen races here. Best result was 9th in January 2015. He was 10th in January 2014. But the last two races, he's missed the cuts. 22nd rather last year, and 24th as well. So he needs to try and find that form that he had 3 or 4 seasons ago, where the Japanese were regular top 10 finishers.
Very methodical. Look at his approach. He spoke to his coach this morning, Koshi-san. Very happy about the 9th place finish of their Japanese female slider yesterday.
Yeah, she was in the top 6 after 6th position, in fact, after the first heat. Just slipped away a couple of spots, but that's her 3rd best ever World Cup result. She had a 4th and a 7th a few years ago.
So he's 800s down, now 13, 800s at the start. And let's see what he does in the exit of the Kreisel or the turbodrome. Steer there.
High second pressure, gets an exit, nicely avoids the work. That's great.
1700s back, though. We'll see if that exit will help him.
That was a great run down through the lower labyrinth, and he should carry speed to the line.
Yeah,
he's going to take the lead from Jack Thomas.
Yeah. You could predict that with that exit. Better exit than the Jack Thomas.
Oh, he doesn't. Wow.
There's Koshi-san right there.
400ths of a second in it. And, you know, we saw
17. He was 17 at the exit.
We saw a lot of ties, didn't we, in St. Moritz, and we see a lot of dead heats here as well. This is such a short track.
So Takahashi's through and down, and look at the S's now. Look at the way you climb. Now look at the marks. See if he's above the marks. He's right in the middle of those marks. Perfect. Look at the form, aerodynamic profile. He's got a lot of experience in this track, but he got too high in the 3rd S. And now watch him come out. Now he has to come out low, a little bit more steering, and you know, toe came out to adjust a little high in the 3rd S. You got to feel the rhythm in there. Very easy for us to say that.
Oh yeah. Rhys Thornberry of New Zealand, 26-year-old. 2 World Cup races here. He was 16th last year, 24th on his World Cup inauguration into Königssee.
He's doing good, 13th in World Cup points.
Different race suit.
He felt so good about his final day of training. He took a first run, he felt so good about it, he didn't take a second run. I go, why? He says, I want to capture what I just did.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to bed with a bad run, so.
Do you know what? And there is so much mind in this matter, isn't there? You've got to capture those moments and live with them. Nice run down the bend away. One hit, he's got the right line into Jena and then into the right-handed corkscrew Kreisel. Second pressure, the 3rd pressure comes right on the exit. That's the one to control, and that's a great exit.
Boy, he was 2400s down, 1900s down, now it's a dead heat.
Tied for the lead, and he could carry speed to the line.
He's a big boy, so he takes advantage of the velocity. 3/10 better.
Elbow out to get the steer into that penultimate corner, and at the line, ooh, at the line we've lost our pictures. Martin Rettel looks happy though, and so Rhys Thornberry has the lead, 50.73, and that's 0.7 of a second off the track record. So
that's great.
Yes, your track record call sounds like that might well be the case.
Rhys knows it too. Hey, he had a good practice run, put it away in the 2nd practice run, and came out and mirrored what he did in practice. Good run all the way down the track. 2400s behind up at the top part of the track. Perfect lines into the turbodrome. He's the leader, but we got some challengers coming up.
Yeah. He's only the 3rd of 28 down the track. Next up for Russia, the first of our 3 debutants, 21-year-old Artem Drozdov from Krasnoyarsk. He has competed in exactly 7 recognized international races. He has never, oh no, he has raced here before. He was here in November 2016. And kind of Ayrton Senna-like helmet there, which is unusual for a Russian.
Yeah, and is this the rugby player?
No, it's his teammate who's a rugby player.
Another brand new guy coming in, yeah.
A nice looking start, 4:32.
Really good start.
4:82.
You know, another Russian that they rushed into the program. Again, the other athletes up at the Junior Worlds, and the question is how many more do they have back there?
Well, they are certainly capable of producing the speed. A little skid onto the bend away. See, the sun's on it early today. That's going to get more skiddy. It's very flat there.
It's a lot warmer than yesterday. Oh, there's a big adjustment there. So we got a problem, and he's half second back. So he's showing his inexperience on this track, because that adjustment he made in the Turbodrome, the Kreisel, you could see the sled alter its direction.
A lot of toe tapping down in the lower section as well, and that all takes speed away. It's uphill all the way to the line out of Echo Vance. In fact, halfway through Echo, you start going uphill. 1.25 back. Well, do you know what? With the, as I said, you know, whatever he's done in Russia or whatever training days, training weeks he's done, he's only had 7 recognized international races. So very much at the foothills of his learning curve.
Well, here, watch the adjustment. Look at this, watch the sled just skittish, you know, and you're going 80 miles an hour. Look at this spectacular picture. And you could just see his feet are up, apart, not comfortable, but what do you expect? First ever race in a World Cup. You know, he's through and down.
Second time ever here as well, so it's not like he knows the track well. Ander Mirambel has been here on a number of occasions. He's done a good half-dozen World Cup races here, but all the way back to the World Championships in 2011 and before. And I don't particularly want to jinx him here, but an indication of how far he's come is Ander has never made the cut here. He has never got into the final run, either in the World Championships or in a World Cup race. Lots and lots of loose ice at the top of the track. Doesn't seem to be affecting anybody.
5th best start. And, you know, now he's challenged to be perfect. Come down. He hasn't missed a cut this year. 14th in World Cup points, and like Reese Thornberry, he's got a great year going.
And that's an indication of how much his season has come along as he's been part of this coaching group led by Martin Rettel. These younger athletes, smaller nations athletes, are really benefiting. Big high pressure in the second.
Watch out.
Gets the exit. Little flop off.
Second down. But that's to Reese Thornberry, he's right behind in World Cup points. So Thornberry was perfect down here. He's still beaming down in front of us here in the finish dock. 57 back, so
fourth place.
Yeah, Anders did not have a great run there. He should have been ahead of Takahashi and Jack Thomas, so that's one of the not good runs for Ander Mirambel. Whether or not that gets him into the top 20, well, there's 28 sleds. We're going to have to see what happens.
With 3 World Cup rookies, so, you know, that's down to maybe 25. Let's have a look here as he gets on.
That's a hard hit there. That was a hard hit. And watch this. Look at this skiddy. Look at his toes come out there, and then he tries to lift them up like, I'm sorry I did that. And then down in Kreisel, watch him go back up above the ice lines. He's way up high there in the frost. And that's not fast.
And you see them leaving lots of little trails of ice crystals as they drag their toes, and that's all friction, of course, because you've got to get the ice out somehow. Reese Thornberry, the leader. First 5 of our 28 sleds down. Martin Stukurs of Latvia, the World Cup points leader, wearing the yellow vest. Only 6 wins here in his career.
Only.
Yeah, not one of his more successful tracks, perhaps. And it's as far back now as 2012. We still talk about it on an almost daily basis when he crashed across the line as the leader and finished on his back in 6th position.
Well, if he's 7/10 better than Reese Thornberry at the bottom, he gets the track record. So let's start seeing times of 25 or 30.
Interesting start, 471 for him. Track record's 453. Jack Thomas also started 471.
Well, Jack's great starter.
Yes, he is.
Doesn't have the ability to profile himself down the track like Superman does here. And this is where he had his problems a few years ago. He's only 1100s up. Wow.
Look at the way he trickles through there like mercury. That's what you need, the perfect line. But will it be enough to put him on top of the pile?
This isn't that good, Reese Thornberry.
For the line.
This is pretty shocking.
Reese Thornberry is going to lead after Martin Stukurs has gone down.
First time. Look at this. Look how shocked the coach is. That's the first time that Reese Thornberry has ever even come close to him, and he beat him. Wow, we're a little shocked here.
Yeah, well, look how still the Latvian fans are behind. Yeah, not the usual. Well, but they are still trying equipment. They are still learning, these guys.
I want you. That's a pretty hard hit here. Look at him steer away.
Hips, hips, hips.
Hips, and then he tries to sneak into Jenna curve. And now this is into the exit of the Echo Von. Oh, that's a big hit there. That's a no-no.
And it doesn't look like it, but that's coming up towards our camera. So Martin Stucors, things to tidy up. He's not going to be the race leader after the first heat. That much we know. Question is, will Rhys Thornberry? Next up, Alexander Gassner. Long way to go before we count those chickens.
Yeah,
Alexander Gassner, 27-year-old German, 2010 junior world champion, when he must have been 9. Won the Europa Cup here in 2007, but last year in the World Cup, 4 seasons ago in 2014.
If I'm the rest of the field, I'm licking my chops, seeing what Rhys Thornberry just beat 2 cars. They're going, wow, Superman's giving us a door to open here, and I bet you we're going to see this German and then Tretyakov right after him.
Tretyakhov's the big challenge, and Yun as well.
Yeah.
Big height in S3, good exit from S4 required. Big long skid, long skid.
It doesn't hit hard. Skid, remember the 2 previous sleds hit pretty hard. Anders Maribel and Dukars both. Speed,
top speed, equal top speed, 112.4. That's 69.8 miles an hour. Into a blind exit off the Kreisel.
Okay, and this looks pretty good. See if he can keep it clean here in the straightaway. Yeah, 28. This is going to be the leader, and it might be 35 or 40 hundredths. 37. Wow. Whoa, okay.
Come on, guys.
Coaches, come on. You're ahead of Dukars by 35 hundredths. Now, I think we got to go back and say this. Dukars is testing, using this event as a warm-up for the World Championships in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. So,
and he said to us early in the season they're going to use every event to test this year. Every event.
Look at this. I think this is as good as it gets down in the exit of the Doodles. As you exit, and then the take onto the curve into the Kelstein, named after where the Eagle's Nest, the mountain is on over there.
Good run from Alexander Gassner to lead Rhys Thornberry and Martin Stucors. But here is our start record holder. Alexander Tretyakov set it in January last year, 4.53 seconds. Fast start so far is 4.71.
So this is high 60s probably. Boy, the start, 4.53. What's the difference there? I mean, the perfect, ideal track conditions here, so I don't understand.
We are, by the way, 3300s from the track record at the bottom as well. Here we go, let's see what the Russian
60s,
rocket can produce.
65, 66, 62. Okay, well, at that pace and a good run.
The Olympic champion has only won here once. That was 2014-15. He's had a couple of other medals, silvers and a couple of bronzes. 3 silvers, 1 bronze.
Should have been farther out than 23. Only one slight tap, wasn't a hard hit in Jenna. And the speed 112.1, not the same as the German athlete.
Fraction slower. However, the exit gives you everything you need down the bottom. 1800s back.
He
could lose 3/10 up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he had that good of an exit either. The speed wasn't that good. Can he be clean here? It's down to 13.
Ooh,
he's going to be the leader. It's going to be single digits. It's going to be 6 or 7, but he'll be the leader.
Wow, 900ths of a second. That's such a good run from Alexander Gassner then. He's ahead of Dukurs by half a second, and he is 900ths behind Tretyakov. So the Russian leads, but the German coaches, who had a 1, 2, 3 in a women's skeleton yesterday, might get a big result here.
Look at this little perfect straightaway there. And then here we go to the S's, okay? Feel the rhythm. Look how high he was there.
Huge height.
Huge height. This is the third, second to third. And that, boy, that could pick up our TV team. That was real high.
Right up in the frost.
Had to have lost time in that spot.
So are they all using this as a dress rehearsal for the World Championships? Yes, they are. But also, this is about World Cup points as well. 29-year-old Don Parsons of Great Britain has only ever raced here in the World Cup, and up and down. So going backwards from last year when he was 5th, 14th, 4th, 14th, 7th. So it's a little bit hit and miss for the Bromley Tech slider. Let's see if he can benefit from an up year this year.
Well, the big, tall, 6'3". Now Parsons used to have one of the best starts. He's been struggling with the start.
481, that's a 10th slower than his teammate Jack Thomas. 1900 slower than Alexander Tretyakov, the leader. What can he find here? Down to 2900s behind already. Big height into S3. Good exit from S4. Absolutely crucial. Tiny brush on the wall.
A lot of lean there,
yeah,
though.
Lots of hits, but no toes. So where is he? 3/10 behind into the Kreisel.
Not very good speed.
69.4 miles an hour compared to 69.8.
Snuck out.
Skates by the wall. Well, whatever speed he's got on board now, he's got to keep to the line. He's already over a third of a second back.
Perfect exit. He's on that wrong side. Exit, and then here
up to third place on the splits and third at the line.
Not bad.
Okay, but a yawning gap between first, second, and third. He's 4,200s back. Top two covered by 900s.
The guy who's the key is Reese Thornberry. He's only 400s behind Don Parsons. That doesn't happen too often. And Dukars is in fifth.
Well, I would say Reese Thornberry will make the cut today.
Little drift to the right side of our screen, and all of a sudden this big 6'3" lanky guys start shaking around. Right here, watch. Now look at this. Is 6'3" with you moving your feet around like that, and you know he's trying not to touch those toes, but you know there's some aerodynamic negative there when that big lower half of his body's going left to right. You know, the air is everything in this sport.
Germany's Axel Jung next up, 25 years old, fourth last year, sixth the season before, seventh the year before that for the 2012 Junior World Champion. He had a couple of podiums here in Europa Cup as well, so
he should be the leader.
Yeah.
He should rock.
He's not fully fit though, so his speed at the start is just lacking a couple of degrees.
No problem getting out of those stud grooves like we saw yesterday in the women's competition. 43.7 is pretty good start speed.
And again, 471, only 900s behind Tretyakov, so that puts him right in the frame with teammate Alexander Gassner.
And remember, Tretyakov didn't have very good S's. Now it's only down to 14, so that means that Axel Jung is online, and if he gets 112 and change speed, he could be the leader at the bottom. There's 112 in the change.
Look how he controls the Kreisel, a little high in the second wave. Exit is great. Exit is really good.
Perfect lines. 13. He could catch Tretyakov here in the bottom. Clean straightaway here, right down the middle.
Look at that. He's just lying there, letting the sled do all the work. Hang on a minute.
Too much. He's going to lose it back. He's going to be back by 30/100s.
Too much control. He's just ahead of Don Parsons by 1200s. As you say, 3/10s back in third place.
Took too much of the Echo Von. High and then drifted to the right side of the straightaway, right side on our screen, his left, and he was poised to do well, but somehow out of the doodles, out of that labyrinth, he went from 13 to 2400s. And
there are times when I'm glad I'm not a gambling man, and today's men's race is one of them.
This is good lines here. Look at him. Look at his head. Look at his head going down. See, he's trying to. I think the G-force got him there on the exit, but. And then here in the finish, watch his head coming down. Look at him bounce. Look at the head bounce there. You see that?
Yeah.
That looked weird.
Little ripple just before the line.
He lost a lot of time on the bottom. He knows it.
Yeah. Not the greatest bottom end. It looked good, but maybe too much control. Alexander Tretyakov leads Alexander Gassner and Axel Jung. 10 down, 18 to come in a hurry-up offense. Here comes Sunbin Jung, second last year, third the race before.
Whoa, there's the start time.
Wow.
His speeds in practice were so much better than everybody else. I'd say it's up to him to take the lead right here. I mean, with
big height in S2, S3, gets a good exit, a little bit of tap dancing down the straight.
Hard hit there, so 112.7 or something he should have here with that start. 112.7.
70 miles an hour, fastest we've seen. Good control in the Kreisel. If he doesn't drill the wall hard, he should lead.
Going to lose some time there. That wasn't clean on the exit of the Turbodrome.
But look at the speed he's got. It's visibly a quicker run.
He's accelerating away now. This is the leader.
How's he carried that speed out of the Kreisel? What a run from Sunbin Jung.
And look how close we are to the record now.
Richard Bromley there, his coach on the right. Had to evict his mum and his dad and his wife from the commentary booth just beforehand.
400s from the track record.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anybody else going to match it. So I think this is going to be the leader the rest of the way.
Yep.
And it's going to be very interesting. Look at the form. The bullet form, then he toe touches to straighten things out on the exit here. This wasn't clean.
Yeah.
Ooh, he snuck through there.
Just about got away with that.
Boy, he would have been ahead by another 10th with a good exit there, but his speed in practice nobody could match, and he just did it here again. He's the only guy with a 70-mile-an-hour speed.
Second pressure in the Kreisel was the key there. Matt Antoine of the USA, 7th last year, 15th and 3rd in January 2015, the only US medal in a decade on this track. Last US slider before him to win a medal on this track in men's skeleton was his coach, Zach Lund, who took the gold medal in 2007's February race. It's a long while ago.
Another tall 6'3" athlete. Tuffy the Tour, the coach, yelling him on. Good entry onto the sled. Start time, wow, 2400s behind.
Yep.
Korean, Sen Bin Young.
Same start as Reese Thornberry. Reese is currently lying in 6th place.
First S, second S, third S, and the fourth.
3 as well.
Fourth exit of the snake pit, and a hard hit there too. But boy, nice there though. He snuck through that hard hit, speed. Wow, he's a kilometer down.
And 4500s back. He is in 10th place at the moment on the splits, up to 9th, just ahead of Hiro Takahashi of Japan.
Like Don Parsons, tall athlete. Let's see if he can take this aerodynamic frame on the bottom. Oh, and he's starting to fall back more.
Hasn't been out of the top 10 on this track for 5 years.
That looks like at least a 10th place finish as I look at the rest of the field. Yeah, there's at least one more.
Well, there's a few wild cards that might get in there. I mean, you look at who's in the top 10 at the moment. Reese Thornberry is the standout there. Jack Thomas as well.
Little drift, watch it come over. Now, this is a hard hit, though. Look at the angle he hits at. I mean, that's... But he took the hit, bang, you see that. And when your body comes up off the sled, that's a hard hit. But he rested the way down. He hit, took his medicine, and straightened himself right into the Kreisel.
There's Zach Lund carrying the sled, last man, last American to win on this track. Christopher Grote here, Germany, 24 years old, not at the Junior Worlds. He's got 2 Junior World Championship titles. I don't think he needs any more. 5th in the race here last year, 11th the season before, and before that, hadn't raced since 2013 on this track. He has actually, for German, relatively limited experience here, Christopher Grote here.
He's an Altenburg guy.
Yeah.
Where he won
like Axel Jung
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
His only podium of the year. He is ranked 3rd in World Cup points. This is an excellent opportunity for him to set himself up for the World Championships, but the first person we've seen drift out of the grooves today.
Is it doing that again? It did that half of the women's race.
Boy, 2800s down to start, 6th best start, and he's going to need this aerodynamic profile. Ooh, same type of skid as Matt Antoine, but he hits twice. He's going to have all he can do to get 112 speed. Oh, 110.8, some of the worst speed we've seen.
3400s back. This is the man who won his first ever World Cup gold medal in Altenburg 3 weeks ago.
He's 9th, not good. So I don't know where he lost it. The start didn't help, but
everywhere.
Yeah, the whole way down the track.
8th place ahead of Matt Antoine.
And this could be the track till we saw the track. Yeah. That's not bad to finish on the bottom like that. Jens Mueller on the right, former Olympic luge champion Calgary in '88, who's been heading up this skeleton program for 6-7 years, and he's starting to see some fruition of success here with the German program. But that wasn't what the 3rd place ranked athlete in the World Cup wanted. And look at the skid. I mean, he's coming straight at that wall, just like Matt Antoine. Watch him lean. Look at him try and lean away. Look, see his feet coming out, and then he hits another. He hits again, I think. Nope. Look, so they know.
Dirk Matjens. Yeah, Christopher Grote here knows that slipped away from him. Well, talking of slipping away, Martins Ducours didn't exactly set the world on fire. He is currently lying in 8th. Here's his older brother, Thomas, 35. 3rd here last season. 2nd in the race in 2014 when Martins and Thomas went 1-2.
Another 6'3" athlete, very much like Don Parsons, Matt Antoine. These guys are all bookends.
482.
Boy, that's off the
Martin
pace.
started 471, yeah.
Now the question is he testing equipment? What do you think they're doing? I bet you they're both testing equipment. I mean, this is a World Championship warm-up.
He was 9th in the last Worlds here back in 2011.
Well, he's 10th, and with good lines. 112 speed is the magic number. 111.9 doesn't have it, but it's going to be probably good enough to beat his brother.
69.5 miles an hour. He is up to 8th ahead of Martins Ducours. And don't forget, he led Martins a couple of weeks ago by 600ths of a second in the 200ths of a second in the first heat.
No, he's drifted
then
back.
Martins went out to beat him by 6200ths.
Like his brother,
Winterberg.
They both were negative on the bottom part of the track. With the coach, I mean, come on, don't. Yeah, I'm sure he's, you know, they got to be testing equipment. There's no way these two guys are back in the, where are they, in 9th and 8th?
8th and 9th. And they're separated by 800ths of a second. Martins is ahead of Thomas. Take a look at the start. 482, not a great start. Oh, big slip there.
Slip there, yeah. Usually he's a little bit better than this at the start. He shouldn't be back that far. You know, looked like a little bit of an adjustment coming out of those start grooves, but down here, that's not too hard a hit, but had better speed than his brother, but had nothing on the bottom part of the track, even though the lines look great.
You've seen their father, Dennis. Is he?
He's up at the Junior Worlds. Yeah, he's running the
go.
track.
Yeah.
So.
Barrett Martineau of Canada, talking of Junior Worlds. Bronze in the Junior Worlds 2013 for the 25-year-old. He's only raced here in the World Cup, 10th last year, 12th the year before, 18th in his first race here, so making good progress. See if he can continue that big, fast turnover at the start.
11th in World Cup points. Barrett has been quietly achieving a lot of PBs, personal bests, and looking very comfortable this season as compared to last. Ski jumping instructor with a little bit of a negative exit of the 4th S.
There's the bend away sorted out nicely through Jenna. What about now in the Kreisel? 69.1, a mile an hour off the front running pace. Good exit though, and down through the doodles, avoids too much bumping and bouncing.
Still hanging around in the 12th position.
Let's see if he can carry some speed to the line and get into the top 10. He's up to 11th. This could be a 10th place run to put him ahead of Matt Antoine. It's 11th. He's just behind him by 900ths.
Yep. Started better than Antoine by 300ths, but Antoine had a little bit better, 10th of a kilometer, 10th of a mile an hour better speed. And that reflects the difference in time.
10th last year, his best result in World Cup here for Barrett Martineau. Doesn't go because very late
Too high
pressure
there.
in the Kreisel,
Yeah,
way late.
Way down low, and then there's a lot of steering. And you know, when you come out of there straight like that, that means you aren't taking advantage of that slingshot that the curve provides you into the labyrinths.
All about the timing.
The rhythm.
Yesterday calling the race, today racing the race. Nathan Crumpton, the 31-year-old from the USA. Sun Bin Young is our race leader. We are halfway through the field. Nathan Crumpton, 18th in World Cup last year, 21st the year before. His only 2 World Cup races here. He did have a couple of races here in Europa Cup, though. So he's got 3 race weekends at the track before today.
Should be in the mid-70s at the start, high 70s. Good athlete, former track and field star at Princeton University. 77, that's about the norm for him. Comes in on the right side of that first curve, though, and had to take a lot of pressure to get out. 63.7 is not too bad.
Top 6 starts. Let's see if he can use his long frame to drive himself into contention. Little bumpy off the S and a big hit on the wall. Like Katie Eulander, heels well apart, using the knees for balance over the knives on the back. 110.9, 68.9, so over a mile an hour too slow in the Kreisel. Down through the doodles, not a bad looking run. Slipped away to 11th place. Can he get top 10 at the line? Top American is Matt Antoine in 10th.
Following more back to 13th.
Yes,
so
a little
now he gets
late
down
there
that,
as well.
The chance to make the cut into 12th at the bottom. not a very good speed, 68.9 miles an hour on the top speed chart, right behind Barrett Martineau by 2/10.
Yeah. Ahead of Jack Thomas by 200s. They're 12th and 13th out of the 16 sleds. So Nathan has 4 behind him as a bit of a buffer. Don't forget, we will cut 8 sliders at the tail of the field.
Look at this. You know, this is the exit of the Turbodrome into the labyrinths. That wasn't perfect. That cost him.
Oldest man in the field is Dave Crest, Cheshire, Canada, 37-year-old. 2 wins here in Europa Cup, 2014, before he came up to World Cup level. First World Cup race here that year, he was 11th, 9th 2015, 12th last season.
Another big guy, him and Reese Thornberry. They're big, thick guys, rugby players. But I looked at the Grizz there last week. I said, you're not the same weight. He said, no, he lost a few pounds. Training regime. Having as good a year this year as he did last.
That's not a bad exit from the S's. Takes a little couple of taps on the wall, but he's 15th place.
Yeah, he's got 111 speed. It's not great, but not bad. Those are good lines. Can he get through here? Yeah.
Yeah, good exit.
There.
Down through the doodles.
Still 15th place.
Smoother you are, the more speed you carry out of there and into Ecovant. And starting to climb all the way to the line now.
Hasn't really improved from his start.
Yeah, 15th position ahead of Ander Mirambel and 500s behind Hiro Takahashi.
So he ranks in World Cup points 15th. He just finished in this heat 15th. So
not been as low as 15th here in his World Cup career. 12th last year was his least impressive run. So he'll want to improve on that.
Well, look at the toes. Little rudders steering. You know, they're just trying to get out of there, feet apart, and, you know, not comfortable, but who is comfortable in the Turbodrome?
Busy track here in Königssee. Switzerland's Marco Rohrer, 29-year-old, was 17th last year. He's only had 2 World Cup races here. He was 22nd, didn't make the cut the previous season. Also had a couple of Europa Cup races.
12th last week in St. Moritz, his home track, his personal best ever. He was very excited about it. And he says he thinks he can continue to improve. That's all you want to do. Come out here, do your personal best, not worry about the rest of the field when you're in a double-digit placing like he is, 16th in World Cup points. But he's been toiling out here for a couple years, and he gets good starts.
Wherever you are, nobody else can affect your race. It's all down to you. 482. So that leaves him 11th place at the start.
63.1. 6/10 down to Nathan Crumpton, who just came down. So that tells you, one thing is the start. The second thing is getting on that sled.
With a long skid, didn't panic, and it straightened itself up. Then a little tap on the wall into Jena and up in the Kreisel. Late pressure into...
Same speed as the Grizz, who just came down, and there's a little exit problem into the labyrinth. And
wiggled out, avoided the wall. Let's see what he's got.
Kelstein, he had some real issues getting onto the take-on at a proper speed point. Look at him put his head down there, though. That's some good coaching. And head down again.
He knows he can feel that he needs every 100.
That's pretty good coaching, but he finished in 17th place. And, you know, the 11th at the start, 17th at the bottom, and that's not what he's done for the season.
No.
24, 26, 17, 18th, and then 12th. And so he is going to have a challenge to make the cut.
Well, missed the cut 2 years ago, and I think he might miss the cut this season as well.
Watch the hop on the sled. Ooh, look at that foot, got way out there. He came across.
Very wide, wasn't he?
Remember, he had equal starts, I think, to Crumpton, and then didn't have any kind of speed, half a kilometer speed. That's that step.
Same speed as Thomas Ducours, who is in 9th, and he is down in 17th. Next up is Carl Chester, USA, 35-year-old. Didn't race here last season. Made the cut once in 5 previous appearances. It was 3 years ago. Well, this clearly then is not a track that he has gelled with yet.
asked him, Kyle, how's it going? Struggling. That's all he said to us when we were in the U.S. hotel the other night for a walk through.
And all it needs, you know, so many times with any kind of driver or athlete is one good result to unlock the kind of mental block that you have about a track.
Best finish of the year was 14th in Winterberg a couple weeks ago. That was pretty unexpected, because then he, oh, look how much, he took way too much of that Jenna curve. And now look how high he gets
high
there.
Pressure, in trouble
Watch
here.
out. That's his problem. He's had problems there all week. He'll be the first one to admit it.
He's not making the cut. That is not happening. He's 18th at the moment of 19 sliders, only ahead of Artem Drozdov. And I'm afraid that he is unlikely to make the cut unless there are some real catastrophes. 51.92. This track will continue to be low down on his favorite list.
You know, he might have overlooked Jenna because he was thinking of the exit of Kreisel, but you have to get onto that Jenna curve and not get up too high, because then you'll cross over and not hit the pressure point the way you want. So it was before this where his mistake was made, but he got way up high near the roof, then down, then back up, and then look at this. Uh-oh. It's like he got a big X. You know, I bet you he's hit there. He's probably had 6 practice trips, 7. He's probably hit there 6 out of 7 times.
Yeah.
He's
his
just
shoulder's
said,
probably the color of his helmet, I would think.
I'm just struggling on the exit of Kreisel. But Kyle, don't feel like you're the Lone Ranger.
Yeah. Anybody who isn't struggling on the exit of Kreisel is lying to you.
Look at these pictures. Spectacular pictures by the crew. I think they got that straightaway. The labyrinth, they're pretty wired in.
Yeah. 21-year-old Japanese rookie this season, Katsuyuki Miyajima. 2 seasons in the North America Cup. He's only ever raced in Europe once, and that was the Junior World Championships in Winterberg.
His personal best last week on the World Cup Tour, 16th in San Moritz. He'd take a 16th right now.
This is his first ever trip to Europe in World Cup. His first World Cup races came since Christmas.
Well, this is the 20th guy now, so we're going to start talking about a full field here. He'll be worst 20th place.
Well, his problem, partly, is that he didn't even start in the 4s. It was a 5.01 start, and he doesn't have knowledge of the track to back that up either.
Well, considering the start, 110.8 is not bad. That's better speed than Grother out of Germany had.
Ooh, little drill on the wall as he drops out of the Kreisel.
This has got 20th place written all over it.
How far behind will he be at the line? Kyle Tress in 18th was 1.85 back, and at the line he is 1.6 back. So found speed at the bottom from somewhere.
Yeah. That puts the Russian at Tress right behind him. But give him some credit. I mean, the speed in Kreisel, 110.8, that was better than, I think it was Christian Grother from Germany.
Yeah, not bad at all. Exit Kreisel. Got a bit of a hit.
He got penalized.
Seen a lot worse.
And then watch the take on here. He's not bad. He got out of the take on of the Kelstein. Not bad. Okay.
All right. Little smile from him. He's in 18th place. 20 sleds down. Sunbin Jung leads. Another 8 to come before we decide our second heat field. .28 starters, only the fast 20 go through, which means for Kevin Boyer of Canada and everybody else remaining in the start house, you've got to bump somebody out before you can get in. 23-year-old raced here once before in his career in January last year in the Europa Cup.
Good start.
Yep.
He's got a good start.
He's going to need everything he's got. What little experience he has of Königssee must work for him now.
That doesn't show a lot of good driving prowess in the previous World Cups. He's just getting experienced at all these tracks, and he comes out of there at that.
Well, that's not bad. 6th fastest start. He's in 8th place as he came out of the S's.
Nice low line, 110.2. Some of the worst speed we've seen, which means he's been steering too hard with that start.
Rather set up for a colder track and a softer ice today.
Yeah, this is
down to 16th.
This is his, he's getting experienced.
Yep.
But he's got a great start. So if you got a good start, you have a great chance.
16th, he's going to be in the race. And Artem Drozdov of Russia, the World Cup rookie, making his debut, will not make the cut.
Yeah, take that. I think that will give him a chance to make the cut. Now there's 1, 2, 3,
Well,
he's going to be right on the bubble.
Right behind teammate Dave Greshcheshin. Top Canadian is Barrett Martineau, currently in 11th. So, will Kevin Boyer stay in? He has a chance. Kyle Tress in 20th place for the USA is the man on the bubble now. We have cut Artem Drozdov.
Look at his leg come up there.
Yeah.
You think the exit, he wasn't prepared for that? That's G-force that does that.
Now, that's a big steer with the knee. The left knee to get him away from that wall. Kevin Boyer's in. Artem Drozdov is out. Next up, Matthias Guggenberger of Austria was supposed to be skipping this race. He was supposed to have knee surgery, microsurgery in his knee. That is now not going to happen until after we've been to Korea. So Googie running on about 6.5 cylinders of the V8 at the moment. Possibly not even that many.
Yeah, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But, you know, last week he told us he was going to go get surgery the next day on Monday. And the doctor said, well, if I get surgery on this thing, we're not going to have you on the ice for the World Championships or Korea. So he said, well, we'll postpone it till the week after Korea.
Got a bronze here in 2012, the only Austrian medal on this track in more than a decade. Last man to win one was Marcus Pence in 2006. He got bronze as well.
In fact, he did not race in St. Moritz, I take that back.
Yeah.
19th in Wittenberg. That's when the injury came to light the week off Wittenberg. We were with him at the Irish pub, and he was discussing it. Long time to have a knee injury in the sport.
You have to do a lot of research in pubs in this sport. It's a disaster. Well, where is he at the moment? 17th off the 11th fastest start. He's got the knowledge, he's got the ability. He's been a podium finisher here, not in the last 3 or 4 seasons.
He's hanging in there.
Pulling himself up to 16th. This should see him in the race.
15th. Good job. You can see why he won a bronze medal here, you know.
Nicky Grunberger a bit so-so, but then his athlete, health-wise, is a bit so-so as well. In his head, he's fine.
Love his best start. You know, he's running with a torn meniscus in his knee.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Look at the toes, steering, rudders. He gets up there in no man's land, but not too bad. And then the exit, well, he pays the price. Does not get there through cleanly. And then the take on the Kelstein, though, he did pretty good.
8th last year. Gonna go some to get to that. Richard Bromley with the sled had to evict his mum, his dad and his wife out of the commentary position just before the start of the race so we could come in and chat to you.
We were just warming him up.
Holding the sled for Lee Han-sin of Korea, the 29-year-old. 24th last year, missed the cut. 20th the season before, just scraped in.
22nd last week in St. Moritz.
Yeah, this is a big field. He might struggle to make the cut here as well. On a Bromley Tech sled.
Start, that's his nemesis. I mean, the guy who's leading the race, his teammate, Sung Bin Young, he has the best start on tour. And this athlete has got the 23rd best start, so which is why he's ranked where he is in World Cup points.
Well, Young starts half a second quicker than Lee.
I understand why they have such a fantastic slider in Young, and then the efficiency at the start drops way off here.
Oh, lots of scraping and scratching off the Kreisel. He avoids the big hit, which body-wise is good, but what did he pay? He was 23rd at the start. He is still 23rd. He is not making the cut, and he will join Artem Drozdov and Kyle Tress on the bench. Yeah. Not going to make it, I'm afraid, on a 51.
21st, though, he came back. Look at that. So he missed by
100, because Miyajima, who's in 20th, did a 51.70.
So then Kyle Tress is out.
100. Kyle Tress is out. Artem Drozdov is out.
Look at that. Look at that. So Hansen, yeah, he's ahead of Tress, but the start
doesn't have the speed at the start. He's clearly the next most experienced skeleton slider behind Sung Bin Young, even at the finish.
Look at that, bouncing around there. That's
buried
weird,
right down there, trying to get that extra 100th, but it wasn't enough.
There's Charlie down there, their coach, just by 100th. So
24th of 28 sliders, Mattia Gaspari was. We saw him out eating dinner with his girlfriend yesterday. 23-year-old bronze medalist in last year's Junior Worlds. Kind of forget how young Mattia still is, just 23. He's had 3 World Cup races here. 11th last year, 10th the year before, 13th the season before that. but he's way down in points because he didn't compete before Christmas, so he's in this never region outside the top 20 starters.
And 11th best start, but he's missed the cut the last 2 races. And for Altenburg, his first event and his first trips in a skeleton sled all season because he's got that thing called the job. And, you know, he did pretty good in Altenburg, but since then, 21 and 25 in Winterberg and St. Moritz, missed the cuts.
And that shows how race rusty he is. It's not that he's not been in the World Cup. He's not slid at all before January.
And the speed, not very good, 18th position. Exit here, give him a chance. That's a pretty good exit.
19th place, drifting away, but he has a nice run through the doodles. Can he keep himself in the race? This will be at the expense of Katsuyuki Miyajima, up to 15th. He's in.
That exit of Kreisel did it for him. So you get rewarded with a good exit.
12th at the line, there you go.
There's his best heat of the year, okay.
Yep. So he knows what he's doing. He's been around the top 10 on his 3 previous World Cup races.
Yeah, the World Cup, he was top 10 ranking, and so our Italian crew has something to celebrate about. Nice job by Mr. Gaspari. And this is what did it. I mean, he's way behind, 18th position here, and then watch the exit. This might be the best exit we've seen in the last 10 sleds. Feel the rhythm, and that's what he did through the doodles. And look at that nice take on to the Kelstein, and you get rewarded.
And when it's like that, it looks so easy. Believe me, it is very much not.
Half of the people who come down have not exited properly. Look at this.
Fourth ever World Cup for Sweden's Rasmus Ottosson, the 25-year-old. Dave Swift with the sled here coaching Rasmus. He has raced here once before, Rasmus. He's done Europa Cup, Intercontinental Cup. Never met his brother, who also slides.
Well, he's got 21st in Whistler, so we've seen him earlier this year.
That was his. He did 2 races last year. This is his second race this season.
Problem out of the grooves, and problem with a deficient start time, and so he's going to need at least a perfect exit out of the prize all way up high in the first S. See what he does in the third S high again. He's probably going to come out and hit. Yeah, when you don't get the rhythm in the S's, you're probably going to come out of there with an exit of hitting one of those walls. That's what he did. 111 speed is pretty good.
Yeah. Trying to keep it alive. 25th still coming into the Chrysler and a big hit on the exit.
He doesn't have the experience. Now he's got no chance.
Consigned, I'm afraid, to outside the top 20. He will be 25th at the line.
Well, his coach will tell him, listen, you had pretty good speed in Chrysler. If you could have found that way to exit, it might have worked for you. But when you see him up and down and around and taking way more ice than you need in that turbodrome, and then it's very easy to say, watch out here in the finish. It's, you know, even we're becoming educated to know the good, the bad, and the ugly of that curve. And we've seen more ugly than good.
Only his 4th ever World Cup race.
Bang, and that's hard. Yeah. And there's another hard hit. So there's the good way, the bad way, and the ugly way to do it. That was the ugly way, and that's... Ooh,
he is going to be sore tomorrow.
Sore, yeah.
In fact, he's going to be sore right now. Tomorrow it'll be worse.
That's 70 miles an hour. With your chin inches off the ice.
And here you've got no control. You're just being thrown from wall to wall by your speed.
The pictures our team has provided are spectacular.
That was one long accident. Rasmus Ottosson, very uncomfortable. 3 sleds to go. 20th place, Mark Aurora of Switzerland. Here's our second World Cup rookie, Konstantin Koroshko from Russia, the 22-year-old rugby player. Again, 7 Europa Cup races in his entire career.
Not a very good start, 21st best start. That's unlike the Russian athletes. Look at the way he's looking left to right, like, you know, I don't know which way to go.
Well, don't forget the 2nd and the 3rd string Russian are at the Junior Worlds, so we're now down into their development program. Great Britain's development program in St. Moritz with Mark Wood watching this. Russia's development program, I mean, guys that have only slid for a year have been thrown into the front line.
Yeah, but I don't know why you have a development program with people who can't start. Just to, you know, get the people who could start and then try and you get 5 of them, you're going to find one that can drive, and then you're going to have a successful athlete. If you don't have a good start, except in women's skeleton. Women's skeleton, you can get away with a bad start, like we saw yesterday with the top 2 German sleds having the worst start in the field.
Well, 21st place, he didn't miss it by much, but he doesn't.
His first World Cup.
Yeah.
He beat a couple athletes.
And that, you see, Again, it's like the German women. Maybe he's got that ability to find some speed down the ice.
I'd take my chances on people who can start the sled.
Well, that's been the way they've done it with Tretyakov and
Look at this
Tregebov.
skating here. Look at this. I mean, he's trying to steer away from the wall. You got to hit. I know, but you got to hit and let it go.
Not bad.
See if he gets down. It's going to come up.
Second pressure, maybe.
Way up in the frost. Now down, then back up, and then the result is you're going to hit on the exit. I would say half the field has been lucky to get through there without tapping that wall.
He missed out by just a few hundred. Still on the bubble is Marco Rohrer, 2 to go. From the Czech Republic, 23-year-old Filip Molter raced here in Europa Cup and Intercontinental Cup, but has only started 1 World Cup in his career, and that was in Altenburg 3 weeks ago. So he's made World Championship appearance. We met him in Eagles, didn't we, last year? And I imagine he'll be back here for the World Champs, which is why he's starting again in the World Cup. 5:14 getaway.
Yeah, came down the right side, his right, of the first straightaway, which means more pressure into the curve. You want to come down the middle or the left side. And speed, he's going to need 110, high 110 to have a chance to qualify.
Decent looking exit, little pinballing around into Jena, bit skiddy.
108, well that tells it all. I mean, we can sort of say it doesn't matter what he does here. It's going to be pretty tough for him to do anything with 108 speed. It might be the worst speed we've seen of the top of all the sleds.
67.7 miles an hour. Top speed there was 70. He's 1.9 seconds back, 26th position, so he's ahead of Artem Dorostov, the young Russian.
Now it's down to the young Swiss. Marco Rohrer is on the bubble, and coming up next is a first-timer.
Yep, another rookie, so another young Italian being thrown into the spotlight. Filip Molter doesn't quite make it into the field. I'm sure we will see him again here in the World Championships. Might even see him next week in Eagles. So this is Manuel Schwerzer of Italy. And the name leads me to understand that he might be from the Südtirol, the German-speaking region in the northwest of Italy. 20 years old.
Tall.
Raced here in the Junior Worlds last year. I beg your pardon, a couple of years ago. And that was in, he finished 16th here. He's done 3 seasons of Europa Cup racing. And this is his very first slide in the World Cup. Just seen his teammate Mattia Gaspari drive into 12th position.
Very encouraging for the Italians to see Gaspari finally get off the snide and pull off a great run on a very difficult track. But he's, you know, Gaspari's good, and it's great to see another Italian out here pushing him.
And this young kid, only 20 years old, 4:93 getaway.
That puts him in a deficiency that's going to be tough to deal with.
He's 1,200 slower than Gaspari, which should make him, on the start alone, 3,600 slower down the track.
Heads way up. The only chance he's going to have is 110 high.
Nice languid run down the bend away. 67.9, barely any quicker than Filip Molter that we just saw. So he's going to be down 24th, 25th.
And he exited out of the Kreisel without a problem, but you know, when you exit that cleanly, maybe you were steering too much. But
I think 26th position, yeah. I was wondering whether he's get any closer, but he's not going to make the cut. He is 26th at the line, ahead of Filip Molter and Rasmus Ottosson, but he does not make the cut. And so the field has Marco Rohrer in 20th, surviving several spins of the dice there, didn't he? He came out 18th. There were 10 to follow him, and he managed to stay in the field. So welcome to the World Cup, Manuel Schwerzer, and unlucky not to make the cut in such a big field.
well, this is a little, you know, just learning experience coming down this long bend away that just the spectators can get so close. And this is a very educated sliding crowd here at the Königssee Sliding Center here in Picturesque.
20 years old. If he wasn't so tall, you'd say looks about 14 or 15. A very red cheeked. Manuel Schwerzer does not make the cut on his first World Cup race. The man at the top of the pile, though, is the man who was third 2 races ago, second last time out, Sun-Min Jung, zooming in towards potentially his second win of the season, his first ever in Bavaria.
He didn't really have a great exit either of the Turbodrome, the Kreisel, but he was so much faster than everybody in training. His speeds were no one could get close to, and this could be his race to lose.
So here is our finishing order after the first heat. Yun 2/10 ahead of quite a tight battle. Alexander's, Tretyakov and Gassner separated by 900ths. Axel Jung half a second back, probably out of the medals. Don Parsons and Rhys Thornbury with Christopher Grotehair. Big battle on the hands there for 5th, 6th and 7th. And further down, some Ducours brothers. Last time Martins Ducours was as low as even 6th. We wrote headlines about it. He is 8th place without a crash here. Mark Aurora is in the field in 20th, and making the cut for the first time ever in his career here in World Cup is Ander Mirambel in 19th. And the remaining 8 sliders will be joining us, and hopefully you trackside, to watch the second and deciding heat. And that will be coming up at midday Central European at 11 Greenwich Mean Time. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew here in Königssee, Bavaria, to find out if Yun can take his first win at Königssee.